Hi everybody, it's Sandra Green here from the WLA. Welcome back to another edition of our weekly resources. Today I want to talk to you about a question that I am asked a lot by clients, which is, how do I get my voice heard? And I was at a speaking engagement this week and a lady came up to me at the end and said, I'd really like to ask your opinion. And hey presto, it was this question. She said, I'm a senior woman leader, I know my stuff, and why do I get so in such turmoil when I'm go to the boardroom? Because I find that I'm not listened to, I'm not respected, and it's tricky for me to get myself heard. And I end up losing a bit of my confidence, and I can feel my sort of energy and so on change. Now, this is such a common question, and I wanted to talk a little bit about why, and then give you a couple of thoughts around what you can do. So this is my view about why women struggle to get their voice heard quite often. And the reason is that when we are presenting in the boardroom or with particularly actually with the male-dominated workforce, we find that women tend to want to do a good job. They want to find the bigger reason for why we're doing things. They want to have a bit of meaning and purpose. They want to see where other people are coming from, because collaboration and empathy are very important. But typically, and I choose my words carefully, the guys tend to be a little bit more interested in themselves. So what's in it for me, what's in it for my team, rather than what's in it for the whole. Now, I'm not saying that all men are like that, but they're not. But there's this kind of underlying trend that I see. And I think what happens is women are a little bit thrown by this, and they end up trying to seek perspective, trying to understand where people are coming from. And what happens is that they are seen as being a little bit indecisive, not having much assertiveness, not being able to get their point of view across, because women are coming at it from a completely different angle. And therefore, women get themselves frustrated, because they want to say, well, look, surely we're all wanting the same thing here. So there are things that women need to do, and I've got 3 top tips in terms of how women can get their voice heard. So my first one is that women have to be much better at talking about their achievements. So in my opinion and in my experience, women aren't so good at this. They tend to get other people to talk about what they've done, and they very much think, well, if I just keep showing my results, if I keep, they must know what I'm doing. But that's not true. So women have to be good at talking about and being proud of the things that they have achieved and letting people know. My second thing that women need to do is, firstly, women have a reliance on their expertise. So they tend to, when they're presenting or speaking with their male colleagues, they'll come at it from their position of knowledge. So I'm the expert, so I'm the expert in marketing or in HR or in whatever field they're in, and that's where I will contribute. And when the debate and discussion moves on to other things, women don't contribute because they're worried about whether they've got the right answer and if they have the right to speak about other things. So very much women can have an opinion on other things in the business, and it's really important to start to ask questions or share an insight or a perspective, and that's something else that will get you noticed. And the third area for women is that women tend to want to please others. I mean, men do as well, actually, but predominantly women are very keen to make sure they're liked and that they're respected and that people like working with them, and therefore they say, oh yes, I'll do that, or I want to make sure that I'm noted, that if I do a good job and if I'm liked and if I please people, then that will get me to where I want to get to. But it doesn't. What ends up happening is that we end up getting overworked and stressed. So this tip is all about getting clear on your boundaries, starting to say no, starting to push back against things that aren't in your area of expertise or are going to overwhelm you, and setting some really clear boundaries and priorities. So knowing what's important, challenging back on, well, if this is something you want me to do, what about A, B and C? So being very comfortable about who you are and what you're there to do. And those are 3 little tips really that I promise will start to make a difference if you adhere to them. But as with any change, it's very hard to try and do this by ourselves, and I would encourage you to find that support network. So whether you reach out to a friend, maybe there's somebody that you work with, a colleague, maybe it's somebody you've worked elsewhere, maybe you've got a great relationship with your boss, or if you're fortunate to have a coach, you could get them to help you be accountable. But if you're going to start to change and do things, and even as simple as starting to shout about your achievements, how are you going to do that? And who can help you think all that through? You're going to need to get some support to do that. So make sure you think about where you're going to get that as well. So they're my tips for how you can get yourself noticed and how you can get your voice heard more, particularly in the boardroom. Hope you've enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing you soon. Oh, and please send any comments or feedback or thoughts through. Love to hear how you're getting on. Okay, thanks. Bye.